Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Evil Man. Yeah.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land. Motherfucker!
Smoke weed every day.
They should add, they should always rewrite the national anthem of every country to add some fun little Easter eggs or swear words, or add some like references to like pop culture, like the Star Spangled Banner should mention like who's nominated for the Oscars this year.
Yes. You're right. Who is? Hey, did Cillian Murphy get nominated at least for Bomb Man?
He's nominated for Bomb Man, Kaboom, and who else is nominated?
Bomb Man. Make the bomb with your brain.
Bomb Man is nominated. Ryan Gosling is nominated as Ken from Barbie.
And
Michael, you've been a bad person. I don't think you've seen Barbie yet.
I
haven't seen it either.
I'm less of a bad person than Chris because I saw half of Barbie.
Okay.
I'm super not excited to see it. I don't want to see it. It's
because how you feel about women, or
no, not at all. It's just the kind of movies I like. It's not high on my priority list. It's more like peer pressure to go see it. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
I was
but I like women. I mean, the latest. I just finished the latest season of
Women
True
R Us?
Detective. Women. I just finished the latest season of the Playboy Channel. And I thought the women were excellent on that. No, the True Detective.
Yeah, that has women in it. You don't
season
hate women. You just don't. You hate Barbie.
Is Jodie Foster in this?
Well, is
new?
Barbie about like you have to see it to show that you like women? Like
yes, actually.
Oh my God, I'm screwed. Okay, well, I'll watch it.
It's part of the boyfriend test.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Sure, I'll
if
watch
you-
it.
Here's how it works. If you watch Barbie with your significant other, and when it ends, you don't stand up and start applauding, and then instantly propose you're a bad boyfriend.
You know what? I played way more with G.I. Joes than Barbies growing up, and I never watched the G.I. Joe movies. I didn't like the Transformers first movie, so I never watched the rest of them. Isn't it the same?
Not really, Chris.
You mean it's just not toys doing stuff?
No, Chris. It's also, it's empowering.
I will say that the Ninja Turtles are
I've never
empowering.
seen a movie about women being empowered. I don't know what that concept is. I guess I need to watch Barbie to learn everything.
Mike, you had something about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I was gonna say, like, as a boy, I loved being able to look up to strong, positive male role models like the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
They helped me a lot, and same thing goes for
they
Thundercats.
I know what you're saying, James, because if it wasn't for the live-action Ninja Turtles movie, I wouldn't know that we could eat pizza, dude.
Yeah, exactly. The Ninja Turtles showed us that it doesn't matter if you live in a sewer. You can eat pizza.
Imagine if the guy who played Shredder in a serious Ninja Turtles movie was nominated for Best Actor.
The Ninja Turtles movie taught me
Or Krang.
that it doesn't always just have to be a straight white man who gets to be a ninja.
You know what
That's
I learned?
right. It could also be turtles.
It could be awesome turtles.
Here's the crazy thing I learned this weekend. In the UK, the Ninja Turtles were called the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
No.
And they had a different theme song where the word ninja, like Shredder, or who's the Splinter, taught them to be hero teens.
But they said
ninja
in a
teens.
British voice.
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Apparently,
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
the British Ninja Turtles, instead of eating pizza, they ate fish and chips.
And
Yeah.
instead of the sewer, they lived in a pub.
Yeah, instead of Splinter being a rat, he was one of those creatures from The Wind and the Willows.
Mr. Toad. And Hugh Grant was their friend instead of April O'Neil.
Who got Hugh Grant was their friend who got busted for hiring a sex worker.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which shouldn't have gotten busted for. There's
That's
a progressive thought for
great
you.
point. I guess not very nice. People, you know what? I think it was only that he had a lovely girlfriend, at least lovely to the eyes, in Elizabeth Hurley when he made that rendezvous with
That's right.
Divine Brown.
Elizabeth Hurley, beautiful visually, but her soul is rotten.
Really?
What
I
an
just I
awful-
don't I don't know what she's like personally, but hey,
No.
on the
When I
eyes.
was a kid, I saw that anyways,
Go on.
Elizabeth Hurley.
yeah.
I just thought, wow, growing up's going to be so awesome. But I didn't know, anyways.
Right, not right.
Elizabeth Hurley, a woman that looks like that, it's kind of rare.
Rarer than you might think when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
There's not always an Elizabeth Hurley to every man's Austin Powers
That's right.
or Hugh Grant.
Well, Hugh Grant had
He had
it all.
He had it all. And now look at him in the gutter.
You know it. Yeah.
He's an Oompa Loompa now.
Yeah.
When once he woke up beside Elizabeth Hurley,
Yeah.
now he wakes up and has to go through 7 hours of makeup to look like an Oompa Loompa. And he lives alone.
Is he in Oompa
Wow.
Loomps?
He's in Wonka
He's
the
in
film.
the new Wonka movie.
Oh.
You know, I remember Perez Hilton maybe 5-10 years ago posted weird photos of Hugh Grant partying with like college girls at their dorm, really drunk. And they were like 19 and he's like 60 or 50. It was a
Oh.
weird look. I still,
Hugh Grant?
when he's in a movie, I do go, oh, great, Hugh Grant. So I didn't hold it against him too much.
Is he the topic of the day?
No, but great idea.
Oh, also, I think that this podcast shows how progressive all three of us are because we started a podcast where we literally show you how many men are evil in
That's
the world.
right.
So there you go. We're taking down lots of men on this mother. Beep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Hugh Grant switched when he had his comeback after years of kind of being quiet. He started playing more villains and stuff and psychopaths. And
Mickey Blue Eye.
so now he's like, now that he's rebranded himself as a psychopath and villain, he's like, well, it's actually good for my brand to show up like at a dorm and party with teens, basically.
Yeah.
you know
It's good for his brand as a bad guy, I guess.
on the subway over here, I was eavesdropping on two younger women sitting
Mike,
beside me.
pervert alert.
I had my
Watch it.
I had my newspaper with the eyes cut out. And I was looking at them.
Of
and-
Justin Trudeau's
Yeah.
face.
And this
Or an ad for Aladdin at the Mervish Theater. Your eyes are coming out of Aladdin's head.
well, they were talking about movies, and the one young woman said to her friend, "I saw the movie Taxi Driver for the first time on the weekend."
Oh,
And she was like, "I think it was one of Robert De Niro's first movies." I didn't like it. And then her friend was like, "Yes, I don't like movies from the 1970s." And it took all of my strength to not rip my coat off and my
Yeah.
jeans off and go,
Oh,
"What are
Mike.
you talking about?"
So you'd be
Yeah.
in your t-shirt and underwear yelling
Yeah.
at these
Yelling at
women
women
on
about
the
film.
streetcar.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the only way to get your point across.
Yeah. yeah. Anyway,
Now will you listen to me?
to each their own, but I found that interesting. That
But the point you're making is that just because it's from a different era, they're being closed-minded to the incredible art that was created by Scorsese and crew.
or just like a whole decade, just like
Were they a good
Yeah.
Were they a good 10 or 15 years younger than us?
yes,
Yeah, you man, it is weird. But that got you, huh?
got me.
But also
I
Sybil
started
Shepherd.
shaking and
Sybil Shepherd's character looks good in that movie. Like she tries to give him the benefit of the doubt, and then as soon as she's learns he's a creep, she's out, and
Yeah.
like the audience knows he's a creep with like a mental illness.
I mean, if that's the only movie from
You
the
know?
70s you've seen, it is like grim and gross and like dirty.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
We're also living in the era where like if a bad guy is in a character in a new movie or TV show, people complain because people shouldn't be bad. And we're like, yeah, and I mean, and people are like, yeah, I know it's a story.
and then
And
were
they're like, no,
yeah.
but still, your story is making people think that being bad is good. No, they're not, because the bad guy gets in trouble. No.
I don't know a ton about that movie, but I've seen little clips or whatever, and also Jodie Foster looks great in that. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Like really great.
She's
I'm kidding.
was at the height of her powers.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
But
Well, I
Travis-
brought up
Yeah.
True Detective season 4,
Yeah,
or I was
yeah.
trying to earlier,
Yeah.
and Jodie Foster kills it in it. Like I think the season's a bit uneven, to be honest, but super empowering final act of that show. Any of our listeners, if you watch True Detective season 4, Night Country, and you've finished it to the end in the Discord or online, wherever, let me know what you thought, because talk about empowering. Boom! What an ending to that show. I actually thought it wasn't going to pull it off, and it gave me a little switcheroo at the end there. I really liked it. I like the end. I thought the show was uneven, but Jodie Foster is really always incredible to watch the whole time. She's
Amazing.
so good. And yeah, and then you're watching it like, damn, little Jodie Foster from Taxi Driver, from
Come a long way.
Contact, from Silence of the Lambs,
Mm-hmm.
and she is just like chewing up the scenery in this series. It's good. It's worth it for that.
Do you think, like they've done with Law and Order Toronto, they'll make a True Detective Toronto?
Ooh.
I hope so. There's a lot of demented people in this fucking town.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Oh.
demented people in Toronto, Chris, do you want to? I hadn't seen this article. You sent us this article about a man arrested in Toronto.
No, Aaron
recently.
Eve sent it to us.
Oh, okay. But you
But
know the
I
story.
read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
know it.
people
Tell
think
us
of-
about it.
People think of Toronto as a clean, safe, sort of uptight city, but sometimes residents of Toronto get a little bit freaky.
Yeah. What happened?
Well, on Saturdays at our house, we're still Luddites. So Kathleen, my wife, gets the Saturday Star still delivered.
Nice.
Just because she likes to take the morning slow and have a nice mug of coffee and read the paper.
You know what? I have the New York Times app on my phone,
Yeah.
and sometimes I read it, but sometimes I'm like, I would love to leaf through a paper right now.
Me too. Sometimes I use the Apple News app, and sometimes I wish that my eyes weren't burning all the time from a hot screen.
Mm.
You know what you could do though, James?
But
You
that's not
could-
the story. But
You
Yeah,
could
well,
hire
anyways, how do you get your news, Mike?
I get it from a series of different sources with opposing viewpoints, so I can take in everyone's opinions and thoughts, and then synthesize it and plop out my own opinion.
Well, even if you have an opinion,
Mhm.
you were born in like 1980 or something, so I'm just never going to listen to it.
So we did get derailed here, but there's a story about a weird man.
There's
So-
a weird man,
Yeah.
Toronto.
So she said,
Okay.
Chris, you got to read this article, and threw me the paper. And then I read it, and then our friend Aaron Eves shared the link. I guess, Aaron, if you're listening, you always get the news 2 days later, eh? Just kidding. You know I'm teasing you about the old, what was it? Twitter thing? Remember? You would
Right.
send us Twitter memes a few days later. Anyways.
Okay.
What?
So
Aaron
what is the-
listens. I know I'm joking for Aaron's sake.
I feel like the listeners are getting they're about to have a heart attack because there's so much anticipation about this story.
Well, Aaron, thanks for sharing it with us because it's hilarious. What it is during the pandemic, this guy online pretended to be a female, lured men to their place who were lonely to have sex, kept a sheet hanging
Like
from
a bed sheet.
bed sheet hanging from a door frame with a hole cut out, glory hole style, and send them messages saying you have to be quiet in my apartment, unfortunately, but stick your penis through and we'll use it glory hole style. So then they would do it, and then they would feel oral sex, and then they would eventually feel their penis going into what they felt like actually like an anus hole.
Okay.
So they had
Would they have thought it was a vagina though, or would they
I-
have thought it was?
the article. I
peculiar
read it
that
from the
this-
Toronto Star paper.
How peculiar that this lady is using her anus rather than her vagina. Well, anyway, carry on.
Yeah. So I think that's some of these customers. Well, I think there's two of them. They got curious in the same sense.
Mm.
Two separate men.
Curious George.
And yeah, I think that one of them found out.
Well, in the article it says
But they were like,
one
this
of them
feels like
pulled down the sheet.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I forgot that.
and then saw instead of the woman they thought they were having sex with,
Right.
it was a man cowering on the floor wearing a black wig.
oh yeah, the black wig.
And there was a man instead of the woman they thought they were having sex with.
so the man is
through the
arrested
sheet.
and getting in trouble for tricking them. Yeah.
Now, I will say, in the guy's defense,
Mm-hmm.
Mike, if you said to me, "Oh, well, guys, do you mind if we wrap up the podcast early
Mhm.
tonight?"
Yeah.
I actually am in contact with a woman, and I'm supposed to go to her apartment. I've never seen her,
Yeah.
and she's gonna have a sheet up with a hole in it, and I'm gonna have sex with her through this hole in the sheet.
Yeah.
I'd probably go, Mike, that could be a man, or
You guys wouldn't be like, "Oh, that's awesome."
no, I'd be like,
have
maybe
more-
you should meet this person first so you can be sure it's a person you want to make love to.
A sheet. Wouldn't you see the shadow on the other side of the sheet? Or I guess the lights were maybe off.
I guess it's the ultimate living dangerously.
Yeah, but
It
also
could be a frigging dog. I mean, you don't know.
it could be who knows what. But it was a man wearing a wig, even though he dressed up, even though the sheet was concealing him.
Hmm.
Maybe he thought if the sheet falls down, that's his
Right.
backup plan. Is that he
Right.
has a wig like a woman,
Right. Or a long-haired man.
a long-haired man.
Yeah, maybe it was unrelated.
He just likes to wear a wig.
But would you guys want the man arrested after that trick? Because you went to put your penis through the hole of that sheet expecting something, and the
Yes.
customer got
Well,
not
it's
what
not
they were
a it's
expecting.
not a customer though. And was he a sex worker or was he just like,
Oh.
"Hey, come have sex with me"?
Right. I guess you're right. It was
So-
a hookup.
To be honest, I don't think that guy should get arrested because I think you're going. I mean, I don't know. You're going
it's
to
under
a
false-
stranger's
It's under
home.
false pretenses, though. That
That's true. I mean, he should definitely
That's
get
the most progressive thought of the podcast so far. You shouldn't care what hole your penis goes into
No,
anymore.
I just think the men who went to the apartment,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know, like they made a bit of a wild choice to go to this apartment.
yeah,
and think,
there's that
probably
part
a
of the
babe-
story. No.
There's probably a babe behind this sheet. Maybe it's Elizabeth Hurley.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably not. I'm just gonna say, a woman being like, "Come have sex with me. I've never seen you, and you don't see me, and I'm behind a sheet." Eh.
No, you're totally right. The person choosing to go and do the sheet thing bears some responsibility.
I agree. I can't help but agree.
You have to take responsibility for your actions.
But it's we've all been in that situation, and usually it goes well. And so it's like this
you
must
mean
be
having sex with someone through a sheet?
a stranger through a sheet. Yeah, usually people are honest. It's the honor system. Usually it goes quite well, and everyone's happy at the end of the
But
day.
Mike,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to burst your bubble. We're not in the 1990s anymore, where people treat each other well. We're in 2024. It's a cold world out there.
It
You
is
can't
I'll
trust.
say.
You can't trust a horny person behind a sheet like you used to be able to when we were young.
Yeah,
And
I
on top
know.
of this happened during the pandemic as well. It makes
Oh,
it even
tell me
worse.
that she was wearing a mask or he was wearing a mask.
Yeah, a black wig and a mask.
I hope so.
Oh my god!
And a mask on his anus as well.
Just imagine though the
Can you get COVID from anal sex?
I think your ass can.
Probably. Yeah, your ass starts coughing all the time.
imagine the logistics though of a sheet, like a flimsy sheet, and
Yeah.
being like, I guess that's a
That's a good point. I could see. I mean, I'm sorry to get graphic, everybody, but I could see sticking your penis through a hole and getting, I guess, a blowjob. But you're telling me having actual sex, that sheet's going to be rocking and rolling and moving and shaking?
it will be rocking and rolling and moving and shaking, and so it's it's the whole thing seems difficult, but yeah,
I know. This is why I'm saying I put the men bear responsibility. The visitors bear some responsibility.
And that guy's what? He's going to jail for 10 years or something? What? no.
Oh,
I'm
I
just
was like,
joking.
that's crazy.
It might be like a year and a half or
Yeah,
something.
we should get this guy
Oh.
on the podcast.
the sheetsman,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toronto hero, sex sheet Toronto hero.
To the sex sheet community, he is. Yeah.
What happened to the good old days when you would just put holes in the sheet to pretend to be a ghost? No one was trying to put the penis in the holes.
Well, yeah. And also, if you wanted to, like, have sex with men, you don't have to go through all of that to do it.
That's
I
right.
feel,
Yeah.
right? So
True.
he must get a turn on from knowing that,
The
these,
luring?
that he's tricking these men
Yeah.
must turn him on. Like,
That's true. I mean, that
tricked
is
them.
that is not right.
Yeah. No.
Some people are really hard up, and you would like.
Imagine
I-
he was
I-
the hottest guy too.
He looks like a young Ryan Gosling.
Sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
No, but I don't know what the gay village bars are like, but you know they're pretty like we know. Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's like there are probably still people like in any sexual preference that goes out, gets wasted, buys people drinks, meets people, and they don't have luck. and they get hard up luck,
Yeah.
no luck for many, many months, years maybe. And then they start
And they crack.
devising schemes,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
A scheme deviser.
yes.
I know.
Sex schemes.
It's hard to come back from a sex scheme. Like, there was a story in Toronto probably 5 years ago about a guy who was filming his tenants.
Yes. He was
Uh,
a performer,
that
like
is
us.
allegedly, this is all alleged.
Right. I
Yeah.
always think about that now when I'm like anywhere. I'm like,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just hard to come back from when it seems like you put time and effort into a plan.
Yeah.
To be
Cameras in every room.
Yeah.
Hidden.
Hidden cameras.
Yeah.
but it didn't affect his career that much because
He's up
it
for an
happened in
Oscar.
Canada. And nobody gives a shit about anything in Canada.
It was on the front page of the Toronto Sun.
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah. But
Nice.
nothing happened.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, if I'd been
well, yeah,
if
it's
I'd
a
been
hard
tricked by that guy, I wouldn't have gotten mad or went to the police or the the legal system. I would have gone, put my hands on my hips and gone, "You got me." Next time I'm gonna get you.
What happened to this, the glory hole bandit, we'll call him?
Yeah.
Come to my house and do a glory hole. That's kind of weird, too. But anyways.
No, it's not really. You could, if you
Yeah,
put
if
that
you-
on whatever dating app,
right.
I guarantee you some guys are going to go, yeah, I'll come stick my dick
No,
in a
you're
hole.
right. The guys are interested.
Let's see what
in-
happens.
Like you were saying, like, the scheme is part of the allure.
Yeah.
So guys going to do a glory hole
Yeah.
was part of the allure to them as well.
Exactly.
Can I pitch you guys an idea?
Yeah.
So everyone loves Toronto, our teams. Everyone loves the Toronto Raptors.
Yes.
And the name Raptors has nothing to do specifically with the city of Toronto.
No.
Here's my wild idea.
yes.
We rename the team based on something that has happened in Toronto that everyone knows. We take away the name Toronto Raptors,
Gone.
consigned to the garbage dump of history.
Yep.
The team is renamed the Toronto Glory Hole Bandits. And instead of a
Oh.
dinosaur mascot, there's a mascot that is a man in a wig on the ground, and there's a sheet in front of him, and he dances around and has a
And he has a
t-shirt cannon.
basketball
He has a
bouncing?
basketball, yeah. And there's a man
Bent over in front of him.
putting his dick through the hole. And he turns to the crowd and goes, shh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope someone could design this logo for us because I definitely see the guy with the sheet. It's just hard to imagine him also maybe bouncing a basketball or something.
Well, he's
But-
sucking a penis and bouncing a basketball.
Okay.
Or turning around, taking it in the back, and then bouncing a
Okay.
basketball. Yeah.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought I
Yeah.
was never a huge fan of the Raptor name.
Yeah,
So I actually don't mind that.
Or the Leafs, the Maple
Yeah.
Leafs as well, or the Blue Jays.
Oh, God.
The philosophical quandary of this legal story is like timeless.
Mm-hmm.
It could go back
Yes.
to the times of Socrates on trial.
Caveman times.
Cavemen even. I'm sure cavemen did really gross, disgusting, dirty glory holes.
This has been happening since the dawn of time. What this man did.
Yes, you're right. Come to my cave.
Yeah.
There's a sheet of rock.
Smoke
little
signals
hole.
that look
Yeah.
like I know how to make my smoke signals look like a woman's smoke signals. And then men come from far and wide.
It would be interesting, the history of the glory hole.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's thrilling, right?
it is
Also,
thrilling.
I'm just
Yeah.
going to say, I don't think it would be that fun to stick your thing through a hole in the wall. It feels like it'd be uncomfortable. What are you, smushed right up against the wall?
What if you
Especially if
put
your penis isn't
yeah.
huge. You got to get it right in there. It's probably like a kid with his face smushed against the windshield,
Yeah.
making funny faces. That's you in a darn
Mhm.
bathroom stall.
And if the bricks or the concrete's too thick, you're not going to get any action at all.
You want to know something? I mean, this is a bit disturbing. I'm sorry. You can cut it out if it's too weird. But I remember being a kid, and I was peeing in a bathroom stall in Florida, in a bathroom in a restaurant, and some guy stuck his foot way under the stall from the other stall. And I didn't know what that meant. I still don't really know what that means.
He wanted you to tap his foot with your foot?
I don't know, but I felt not good about it, and I zipped out of there. I
Maybe
don't
you
know. I
want-
don't
While
think
you
he
were
knew.
still pooing?
I was just peeing, and I had already
Oh.
done.
Maybe he wanted you to
Okay.
piss on his foot.
It's possible.
Some people like that too. That's
Weird.
not illegal.
Hmm.
No.
Or is it?
But I will say, I weirdly remember that foot coming under the divider, and I thought, I do not like this. I'm out of here. So, I don't know.
Well, what the hell was that all about?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, does he maybe it's a guy who goes and
You
stalls.
think that was like?
And I'm just, to me, I wondered if it was like a message, like, here's my foot. Are you interested in a little something?
'Cause they don't.
And then you heard a drill go against the wall.
Were you there for Disney World?
It may have been something
Because
maybe
the
like
ads
that.
for Disney World don't. It shows Mickey Mouse and Goofy and like Magic
Mm.
Mountain or whatever. There's not then like a shot of like a foot under a stall and a boy pissing.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, that's not what you expect.
Or Epcot Center is a giant ball with a hole in it.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
I think. Yeah.
Toronto is not as boring as people think. I
That's
guess.
right.
Right?
That
It's
is right.
wild, man.
Yeah.
When you're horny, you gotta come up with some schemes.
Or you could simply let your wife know that you'd be interested in getting a little funky that night and see how she feels.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have a scheme.
Well, yeah, I don't know. You're right. The scheming is probably more of the turn on than the loneliness is the factor.
I do think
Mm.
people probably get a little turn on going, ooh, they're going to not think it's me.
I tricked some boys.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Or
frankly.
some men. Well, you know what I mean.
Men.
Men. Men, 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 menly men, men, men. Ooh, 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 ooh,
Speaking of
ooh.
a guy who's probably used a glory hole in his life, Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen.
I would bet $10 he's done something like that.
What was that show called?
2.5 Men.
Two men in a glory hole. That's what the new Toronto remake will be called.
They should do, yeah,
2 men, a half a man, and a glory hole.
I mean, Law and Order.
2 men in a
Law and Order,
m-
glory hole.
They're gonna do Law and Order Toronto, an episode about the Glory Hole Bandit.
dung dung.
And it'll be like Donald Sutherland or maybe Kiefer Sutherland. Maybe both of them.
yeah, that'd be actually
That'd be
fucking
awesome.
cool.
Donald will play the sheet. Kiefer will play the criminal.
That would be some upsetting casting. Our idea is the criminal is Kiefer and the guy who gets tricked is Donald.
90-year-old Donald Sutherland
with his son.
having sex with his. Oh God!
Oh,
Well, they're
this was a
acting, so they're not
nasty
playing
intro.
father and son in the show.
That's right.
Maybe other Canadian celebrities can play criminals on Law and Order Toronto. Steve Smith from Red Green could be a serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I killed them all. I killed them, put their bodies in the Possum Lodge.
I choked them to death with duct tape. That's good.
Who else is famous and Canadian? Let's see.
Pokeroo,
Pokeroo could play a
glory hole freak.
glory hole freak. Drake.
Imagine you would put your dick in a glory hole and you saw that Pokeroo was sucking it.
Well,
Well, I'm a nostalgic 80s kid, so I would love that.
Yeah.
well, according to the latest Drake video, yeah, Drake could put his penis through a glory hole and not even be in the same room. Yeah. Apparently, it's a.
Apparently, Drake's
Big.
dick is so big it graduated a year before him at college.
Where did you guys see this supposed picture?
I did see
No.
it. I saw it.
What did you think,
It was
Mike?
leaked. Well, you can't tell whose face
Leaked
it
is a funny thing to call a dick pic.
Yeah.
Leaked.
He
Huh?
if it is him, you can't see the face properly, and it doesn't.
The
you
face
don't-
of the dick or
person.
the face of the person? Okay.
Yeah, the face of the dick, the famous phrase we all use, and the penis also unclear whether it's real or false.
Oh, so you think this is all some scheme to spread a rumor that he's got a big?
He's
Can you guys do that for me?
I would love to.
All you need to do is
Mhm.
find a guy with a big hairy belly and a huge dong
Mm-hmm.
and say, "This is Chris."
Yeah, that should be easy. Yeah, yeah. I could do an Instagram story like, "Ha, caught Chris changing, lol," and then you see like a massive dick, but just not your head. Actually, you know what? To be honest, with Instagram stories now, it would be really easy to just probably put your head on another body and share a huge picture of a huge penis with it.
Yeah.
It could be good for your career.
Oh yeah. Like we can just say AI make a dick pic now.
That's
You
right.
don't even need to like find a real person. Man, the future is awesome.
before we get to this week's topic, let us tell you about our Patreon account that you can find at patreon.com/evilmen. If you sign up, you get 2 bonus episodes a month. There's a whole library of old bonus episodes you can listen to, and you get to join our Discord, where you can chat with us. So check it out, patreon.com/evilmen.
I'd just like to point out, it's not a library where there's an uptight, fusty old librarian going, yeah, quiet! People are trying to read! And they're always on your case or, telling you, you're chewing your gum too loudly.
Exactly. It's like a cool library.
It's a cool librarian who lets you drink in the library, lets you smoke cigarettes, or... You can watch the new Bob Marley biopic in the library. So it's a cool library. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. How's it going? One love.
You can also, by the way, watch videos now of our episodes on our Patreon, or go to YouTube at Evil Men Podcast.
People are big fans of watching us sit and talk. It's really nice.
Hey, James, can I ask you a question, but you have to promise not to get mad? What do you say?
Okay.
Who's this week's evil man?
Oh, I was worried you were going to ask something else. Well, Mike, this week's evil man is quite a how do you say it? Quite a so-and-so, and his name is John McAfee.
Oh.
Ooh.
Does that mean that people downloading this episode won't get a virus on their device because McAfee antivirus software?
The only virus they're at risk of getting from us is HPV. Because you were saying, Mike, you have it?
Not on Mike.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding, everyone. None of us here have HPV.
Nope.
You guys, were you McAfee antivirus software users? You probably were.
My family was a McAfee family.
Really?
Yes, we would defrag the computer. We had
Oh.
McAfee antivirus software on the computer. But all those years ago, I never knew that there was an actual McAfee man behind the McAfee antivirus software.
Neither did I.
Next, you're going to tell me there's a real McDonald's.
Oh, it'd be like finding out, like, hey, here's some pictures of Net Nanny when she was young and she was hot as hell.
Oh my God! Remember defragging?
Yeah. It would take 8 years. And
that was satisfying. It was like
Yeah.
popping a zit.
What would it do? Free up space and make your computer more, go faster?
No idea. I guess.
Yeah.
But it always felt like when your computer wasn't going well,
Yeah.
someone would be like, "Did you try defragging it?"
I miss defragging.
What
Apple.
was that robot logo cleaner, space cleaner one? I had that. Do you ever have that?
Robot space cleaner.
Oh,
You mean the
Cyber
maid
Squirter.
from the Jetsons. Cyber Squirter.
It would squirt vinegar and
Oh.
lemon scented cleaner on your inside of your computer and scrub it up and make it all smell good and be clean.
There was like a little Robotech style robot logo and you could download it for the clean up space on your desktop.
Oh yeah, I maybe remember that. God,
It was
the
probably
old
a
days, huh?
scam.
You know what? This is gonna make me sound like an unbelievable loser. I don't know how I came across this, but I saw some YouTube video that just showed what it looked like using Windows 95 or those old Windows like early 90s, and it really did hit a nostalgia thing for me just seeing the desktop and the start menu and all that crap.
Oh,
Remember
that'd be
that
crazy.
stuff?
Yeah, yeah. You know what's funny is I was talking to my neighbor today about how someone tried to scam me on Facebook Marketplace.
You told me about this too.
Yeah, and it was my first experience with that, so now I know.
What's the name of the punk who did this, Chris?
I have no idea what their real name is, but I think they might be in Turkey. But the thing is, which is far away from me. But anyways, I noticed my 7-year-old is listening to our conversation. And I'm like, oh, sorry, this is so intense, all this stuff, eh? And she goes, I know all about scammers online and blah, blah, blah. And she's in like grade 2.
Wow.
But they have laptops in class that they use, and she knows how to install programs.
It's like
and
it's going to be crazy because kids now that it's second nature to have a laptop or an iPad, like they think differently than we do.
yeah, and my neighbor who's got like 2 daughters who are in their early teens said that they've already like helped him like fix crap on his computer like twice so far.
Oh my
So it's just like that's what it's gonna be like. We're gonna be those guys,
So
or I am.
when we're old, our kids won't literally pull the plug on us. They'll have an app that they can just press a button and then we'll die.
They'll remove us from their phone.
Yeah. And empty the trash bin.
Yeah, Mike's consciousness file delete.
Imagine you physically die, and then all of your RAM gets uploaded, like in the synchronicity or whatever. What's it called? Singularity.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, I did it. It's true. It worked. You know, Yule, whatever his name is, Yuval, whatever is the Sapiens guy is right. It worked. And then your kids are like, nighty night. And they just shut you down even though your consciousness gets uploaded.
Oh man.
No, you're grounded.
Well, let's talk about
Okay, let's talk about McAfee.
Johnny Mac.
Return to the Mac?
Well, he did make a couple returns actually, Mike.
All right,
So
all right.
when
Return of the Mac.
oh my god, doesn't the guy say "oh my
Once
god"?
again.
In that? Yeah, once again.
While I'm loading the antivirus software and I'm out on the town.
When I got a virus.
Return of McAfee.
All I know is that John McAfee, he seemed to live life to the fullest, especially in the last few years of his life. He was always in tropical places. He had a series of boats. He loved guns. He had a sexy younger woman in his life, and yeah,
All true.
yeah.
Well, let's get into this. So, John McAfee himself framed his life this way: am I a successful entrepreneur who went mad and killed his neighbor, or am I the potential savior of America?
Oh.
I'll let us be the judge, but it's definitely not the second thing. Not to be a spoiler.
Oh wow. I
Yeah.
heard this story years ago, but I don't remember anything.
Okay, excellent. Well, Johnny Boy was born in 1945 in Gloucester, England, on a U.S. Army base to an American dad. Great show.
You mean Gloucester?
Yes. And a British mother.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. John was mostly raised in Virginia, and he felt as much British as he did American.
Hello, son.
So he feel just as comfortable reading a Garfield comic strip as he would reading an Andy Cap.
Sure. Or Calvin and Hobbes as a Beano.
Yes.
Or the other Dennis the Menace that looks weird.
Yeah, the black-haired one.
He'd be as comfortable reading a Dennis the Menace or a Dennis the Menace.
Exactly. Well, this is too bad. John's dad was an abusive alcoholic. John spent his childhood living in fear that a beating from his father could happen at any time, and he struggled to make sense of why this was happening to him.
That sucks. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for him because of that. But I want to do a noise impression of... No, I won't do it.
No, we should
You
do
might
it.
as well. You've
Do
gone
it.
this far.
Come here.
You know what? Yeah, that is accurate.
It is
That's
What-
a
yeah,
dark-
I have in my notes.
That's a dark sound effect, noise sound effect joke.
But accurate.
accurate to the situation.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that happened, unfortunately, quite a bit. However, when John was 15, his dad committed suicide.
So what did that sound like, Chris?
Well, how did he commit suicide?
According to my notes, shot himself to death.
Was he British or just the mom?
He was American.
Okay. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Well,
Goodbye.
now, Chris, you might need a sound effect for this.
That was like half his brain was gone, but he was
Yeah.
still
you might
alive quickly to say goodbye.
You might need another sound effect, Chris, because a book called Running with the Devil, The Wild World of John McAfee, alleges that maybe John McAfee's father didn't kill himself, but that John McAfee himself shot and killed his father, making it look like a suicide.
Revenge
Mm.
for the drunken beatings. Now I don't feel so bad. Hey, what are you still doing up? I thought I told you to go to bed. What the?
Now I'll just put that gun in your hand. Perfect.
Nighty night.
That was just one theory in a book. I sort of don't think that happened based on my reading, but what do I know?
We'll never know. Yeah.
So now it's time for college. Remember
Oh.
Saved by the Bell, the college years? This is like
When I
John
wake up in the
McAfee.
morning and
Oh, great! I'm still late for college.
Now this might have a little bit in common with us three. John was a bit of a drinker in college. Also a drug user.
Oh.
But despite that, he was very smart and very charismatic, and he did well in school. He didn't have trouble like getting work after school.
Okay, I can do sound effects for that to make up for the dark one. This is him in college. I know the answer.
Well, the way you're describing him,
Mm.
James, as a hard drinking, hard drugging, hard living guy,
Mhm.
makes me imagine like, oh, what if Keith Richards developed successful anti-software, antivirus software? That's kind of what would
Right.
happen.
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly. Pretty much, honestly.
Doop doop boo doop.
When his software destroys the virus, it plays that little song.
Burning it.
It's fun. I always used to like imagining the virus being like a little green thing that the antivirus software's killing. So McAfee put himself through Roanoke College, and discovered an ability to con people with a simple, direct approach. He sold free magazine subscriptions that required substantial payments for postage. So he got this kind of scammy magazine job in college. In 1969, as a teaching assistant studying for a PhD in mathematics in Louisiana, he was fired for sleeping with one of his students, which led to his first short-lived marriage.
Oh wow.
There must be some kind of way out of here.
When you guys, I've probably asked this, but did you guys have any teachers or professors or whatever that everyone knew was dating students or anything like that?
No,
No.
I wasn't paying attention.
I had one teacher in
Yeah.
my high school that flirted with the girls, but I don't think anything
Oh,
that
in
happened.
actually, yeah, we had a band teacher in high school that got in trouble.
Oh, yeah?
He would like feel up their backs to feel their bra straps and stuff, and
Oh.
I
Not
think maybe like even got inappropriate a bit.
There was in my first year of high school, there was a married couple that taught at my school, and the husband died during my first year of high school, and the next
Damn.
year, the widow was still teaching there, started dating a student who had just graduated from the school. So he wasn't he
How
was
did
no longer
her
at the
husband
school.
die?
Brain cancer, I think.
The student and her plotted to get him brain cancer.
Well, maybe we'll find out one day.
Well, dark path I took is down. Anyway.
They put brain cancer in his drink when he wasn't looking.
So, out of college, John got a job at the Missouri Pacific Railroad, where he would schedule trains. I'm a big
Wow.
train fan. I'm
Yeah.
always interested in
Trains are
trains.
incredible. They're huge.
It reminds me of Thomas the Tank
Engine, yeah.
and Ringo Starr and George Carlin.
Yeah,
Like,
and Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin. Yeah.
Yeah. So while John was working for the Missouri Pacific Railroad and scheduling trains, he was dabbling in some harder drugs. He would sometimes take a tab of LSD before going into work, according to Wired.
The trains are going to the clouds today, everybody. They're scheduled to get there at 29 o'clock.
Yeah, according to our schedule, the train leaves St. Louis at 3:15, then becomes one with the universe at 4.
Yes.
Could you imagine that, taking LSD before going into this
Yeah.
complicated job?
Wow.
We are all one, man. Me, you, the train.
One day at the job, John was sold a bag of DMT, which is the
Mm-hmm.
thing.
The
that-
hallucinatory drug that your brain releases as you die.
That's right. According to Wired,
Or the ingredient in that plant, ayahuasca.
Right.
That mixture that you drink.
right. Again, according to Wired, John McAfee did a line of DMT, felt nothing, and so decided to snort the whole bag at work. And one line is supposed to cause serious hallucinations.
And this is when he's still working on the railroad.
I've been working on the railroad. Whoa.
Demons are eating my soul.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
That's scary.
He ended
that
up.
scares me.
I know. He ended up fleeing his office and was found behind a trash can. That was his last day on the job.
Yeah.
John,
God, I end up behind the trash can after 2 puffs off the joint.
John, step into my office. Now, the thing, this doesn't give me any pleasure, but we have to let you go because you snorted a bag of DMT and we found you behind the trash can. You're a damn
hardest
good
part of-
railway man, but you can't work here anymore.
It's the hardest part of my
we're
job.
John, we're going to need you to put your clothes back on before we fire you.
Oh, man. So that same Wired article said that part of John believed later in life, he was still on that DMT trip.
Wow.
And that everything since that day had been one long hallucination, and that he'll wake up on the couch at some point back in Missouri listening to Pink Floyd. So he
That's
imagine
like that Star Trek episode
yeah.
where Picard goes to, he gets
Lives a
knocked
whole
out
life.
and then lives a whole life and then comes back awake.
What if we're part?
I can't even think about stuff like that.
We might be part of John McAfee's DMT hallucination.
Oh my God, I'd love that.
Oh my God, he's watching us do a hilarious podcast about it.
And when he snaps back to reality, we all disappear.
Huh. Has Elon Musk mentioned anything about that?
But despite all this, John was very smart, and he overcame a lot of it. He actually worked prior to the DMT incident. He worked for NASA on the Apollo space program. He was the guy who gave LSD to Buzz Aldrin. So smart
Wait, what?
guy.
He's working for the space program
He
now?
did. He worked for the Apollo mission.
Teacher trains spaceships.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. Well, it's like us, podcast, stand-up, sketch.
Yeah, you're right. And everyone says, wow, when they meet us.
Yeah. So in the early 80s, John worked at a data storage company called Omex. He was snorting lines of coke off his desk and drinking a bottle of scotch every day.
It's like,
Makes me feel better about my red wine.
It's like if Hunter S. Thompson
Yeah.
wasn't a writer.
I was going to say, yeah, it's like Ernest Hemingway or like Winston Churchill, but like a young American guy doing math. Yeah.
Yeah. So his wife left him.
Oh, boo.
I guess maybe because he was doing cocaine and drinking scotch every day.
Right, right.
Well, she can't keep up with him.
Right. Well, honestly, yeah, probably.
It's her problem.
John left his job and he stayed shuttered in his house doing drugs alone for days. He said he contemplated suicide, much like his father.
No.
His life was hell.
I'd commit suicide if this wasn't one long DMT trip.
But he joined AA,
Mm.
and he said that was the point that his life truly began.
Oh, that's nice.
It's kind of weird because there's this little button on it, like, and then he was sober, but he wasn't at all.
At his first meeting, he snorted an entire box of recovery.
Recovery powder.
he you know those chips they give you,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
poker chips? He cut one up
crushed it
and
up.
snorted it.
He snorted all the chairs that people were sitting on.
Yeah, he had strong appetites.
Right.
Anyway, his career goes back in a good direction. By the mid-'80s, he had a steady job and security clearance at Lockheed Martin.
Okay.
Jesus.
Just like a military thing.
He's a go-getter.
Yes. And you know what? I mean, I feel bad almost saying this because he did do some pretty horrible things, but he was like a good-looking, charismatic guy. There's a million videos online you can watch of him, and he kind of looks like an actor. Like he looks like he could play a villain in a drama or something, but like a handsome villain.
Cool.
Just a little observation.
No, but it is true. Sometimes we do these evil men episodes where it's sort of like there's this sort of subcategory we do sometimes where it's like these absolutely insanely driven megalomaniacal American men.
Yeah.
And there's like something in the water down there where they could do any drug, any as much booze as they want, any crime. marry as many people as they want, and they keep going forward.
I know.
Like the pillow guy.
Yeah, My Pillow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he really reminds me of that guy so far. Or like all these guys, they're just like, they have something missing in their brain that makes them think twice about doing something,
Yeah.
and it works for them.
Yeah.
Well, in 1986, news broke in the computer world.
Oh, Expo 86 in Vancouver.
Oh, true. But in the
Rain in Blood by Slayer came out.
no. Well, yes, but in the computer world,
Oh.
they were all a hubbub because a virus came out.
No.
The first PC computer virus dropped, if you will. It was called the brain virus.
Oh God.
I could tell you a little
That's
bit about
scary.
this brain virus, really the first computer virus.
I
It was
would love
kind of
to hear it.
interesting. So it actually, came out in January 1986, and it was created by two brothers in Pakistan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They said they didn't make this virus to be malicious. They made it to protect their medical software from illegal copying. So basically, the virus would slow down your disk drive if you were using an illegal copy
Okay.
of this sort of medical software.
But it leaked somehow?
I guess so, yeah. And
Got
like,
power mad?
well, sort of. So the virus would slow down your disk drive if you were using an illegal copy of the software, and a text would pop up on your computer saying, "Welcome to the dungeon. Beware of the virus." I think they just thought it would be fun.
That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, but this was an interesting virus because they really didn't mean it to be malicious, but so they actually had their address and phone number pop up with the virus so that you could call and they could be like, "Sorry, you're using an illegal copy," or whatever.
Right.
And yeah, I guess the virus just spread like crazy because the two brothers started to receive like a ton of phone calls from the United Kingdom and the United States and elsewhere being like, "What the hell is going on with my machines?" And the brothers were stunned and like, "Oh shit, we didn't really mean for it to."
How come
Look
they've
like
never made a
this.
movie about these two brothers? I would love to see
It's
that
interesting.
movie, or be in that movie as a
Oh,
guy who
Mike.
bought pirated software.
Yeah,
And I
in
call the
Canada.
brothers. Yeah, I call them, and they tell me like, you get to pay for a real copy.
Yeah, you know what's
That'd be awesome.
a really
That'd be a
good?
gripping movie.
I know I'd love to see Mike in that role.
Who would play Mike?
Oh well,
I would-
Mike is
I'd
playing a
play-
character.
yeah.
No one's playing
Oh.
Mike.
But who
would
But it
play
would
me?
be interesting.
Oh yeah, right.
It would be interesting if there was
Who would
Mike.
play Mike here while Mike was away making the movie?
Right. Maybe one of the Belazzo brothers.
Yeah.
They look alike.
Yeah, they look very similar.
Thank you.
I would recommend a show called *Halt and Catch Fire* that's kind of under the radar. That's set.
It's good.
It's really good, and it's kind of set in the world of the early '80s, trying to create the first like laptop and stuff. And it sounds like it would be so boring, but it was interesting.
Scoot McNairy's in it. He's a
He's
really good actor.
And who's the main guy? I'm blanking on his name.
Oh,
the
yeah.
handsome, tall guy.
The guy from Foundation now.
He's
or whatever.
he's so good. He's really over the top.
Yeah.
That guy oozes sex appeal. He
Yeah,
does.
and he's big
What's
and
his name?
strong.
And he's big and strong. He looks like you'd be somewhere with your girlfriend and he just
Grab her
be
in
like,
one hand.
"She's coming with me." And you'd be like, "Well, what can I do?"
Jeez.
He would grab her and swoop her up with one arm, and she would go, wee.
Can you look up his name? Because it's going to drive me crazy that we haven't.
Also, can you look up a picture of the two?
Foundation?
It's called Foundation, yeah.
And can you look up a picture of the two Pakistani brothers who created the world's first computer virus?
I would like to see them too. I agree with Mike on that.
I'm imagining two absolute hunks,
They might have been hunks.
shirtless, bulging muscles.
Lee Pace.
Lee Pace. That guy
He's big and strong. handsome.
is probably one of the. I think he might be the best looking guy in Hollywood.
Should I wish I was him? I don't know who he is.
Yes, you should.
Okay.
Google him. I mean, he's fit. He's tall. He's got charisma. Anyway, we're really getting off topic here. Chris is just Googling Pakistani brothers who invented the first virus. It was called the brain virus. Oh, there they are.
Reminds me of like Super Mario Brothers
Here
if
they
they
are.
lived in Pakistan. Yeah.
Here they are.
They actually do have mustaches like Mario and Luigi, except
Yeah.
they're wearing suits instead of plumbers' outfits.
Yeah.
This is excellent.
It says here, oh, fuck, it's...
Well, you clicked a
Oh,
YouTube
you're going- you
video,
have the virus
but-
now?
Oh, God, Chris.
Welcome to
The
the
two
dungeon.
Pakistani brothers created the world's first PC. This is a big story.
That's
PC
why I told you.
virus. The 1980s brain virus made its creators Bassett and Amjad Farouk Alvi infamous and made John McAfee. Oh, I'll held off on what.
Right.
It
You
made
were about to
John
just
McAfee.
tell the whole story.
McAfee.
Okay, so
But they look like good guys. Like they're laughing. One brother's laughing in the photo.
I love them.
I'm sure it was a wild time for them. I love them too.
I love them.
I love them.
So, point being, this first computer virus is out in the world. Computer guys are going, oh no, what's going to happen?
Fuck.
Exactly. John McAfee.
Non-computer guys are doing shit all.
They don't care at all. They're,
No,
listening
they're going
to
on dates with
Bon
women.
Jovi.
It's
Yeah,
1986. They're
Yeah.
listening to Van Halen. They're playing tennis.
Yeah.
They're picking on nerds at the beach.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're saying, "Don't tell me about any Pakistani brothers. I don't care."
Well, you should, because it's an important story. And John McAfee, he goes, this is interesting, this computer virus, huh? And he was so smart, he immediately grasped how this virus worked, and he created a program to neutralize it.
Yeah.
So, and he actually, sorry for this little derail, he was able to create a prototype for what would become McAfee antivirus software,
Yes.
and it to neutralize this particular virus. It took him a day and a half,
Really?
and it worked.
Okay.
So that's how quickly he was able
That's
to.
the wonder of snorting a bag full of DMT. It just makes you rich.
and efficient.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's my problem.
McAfee from his home created this antivirus software in a day and a half, and he decided to market it to sell to businesses. And it was interesting because home computers were new. People had no idea what to do with a virus. And so at this time as well, home PCs are booming. Suddenly, everybody and their brother wants a darn computer in their home.
Yeah. Home computers were just getting started. This is way before barn computers or even computers down by the dock.
And so John thought, I could capitalize on some paranoia here. So
Right.
with new viruses popping up all the time, he was able to take this small business of antivirus software and turn it into a multi-million-dollar operation.
Right.
Good for him.
He did some stunts, such as creating a mobile antivirus van to help bring about national notoriety. And he also wrote a book warning of computer viruses as a threat. He stoked fears about another virus that happened in the late 80s called the Michelangelo virus.
Oh, reminds me of Ninja Turtles and the Italian artist.
Yeah.
And we're back to Ninja Turtles.
Isn't that funny?
Yes.
Fabulous name for a virus, the Michelangelo virus. So, in 1992, just when his rapidly growing company was listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange, his value of his company immediately jumped to $80 million.
Whoa, John.
Yeah.
That's good money.
Yep. Eventually, he actually only worked as the executive of McAfee for a couple of years. By 94, he sold out his stake and founded another company called Tribal Voice, which was an early messaging system, and something called Powwow, and he sold those as well. But while John was running McAfee antivirus software, this was not being at Innotech in the movie Office Space, where it's boring, blah, blah, blah. No way. Not if your boss is John McAfee.
Yeah, he seems like he's a bit of a wild man.
Oh, yes. So employees of John McAfee, they said it was almost a cult-like atmosphere where people would work days at a time just to appease John. He's got this larger-than-life personality.
Boss, do you want us to help you get out from behind the garbage can?
John really set the tone for the company, and I watched a documentary about John McAfee, and they talked to some of his employees. It was very confusing to try to understand, but apparently at McAfee Antivirus Software in their office, there was a group of employees who called themselves Little Foxes, and they would give points depending on where you had sex in the office.
Okay.
And one guy described the janitor having to like Windex all the desks because people were always having sex all over this goddamn office.
Just a Wolf of Wall Street type of vibe here going on.
And who would have thought this at a computer company?
Yeah. Well, I hope that he gave his employees real-life antivirus equipment, condoms, dental dams.
Apparently, it wouldn't count if you lured someone
IUD.
to your office and you made them use a glory hole that you put in a sheet.
Yeah, that's 100 points.
Beep, beep, boo. Yes.
Anybody ever have sex at any of your places of employment that you can remember?
I'm not. I don't think so. I've worked in a few coffee shops, some restaurants.
I knew someone who worked at the
I don't think so.
I knew someone who worked at the CN Tower here in Toronto, and they said they thought employees like got it on up at the up in the tower.
Why wouldn't ya?
I bet it's a good thing to take off the old list.
Yeah,
I did work in a mailroom for a media company in my early years after dropping
9/11.
out, and like, two other employees got busted. One was giving the other one a BJ in the stairwell in between floors.
No way.
Yeah, I thought that was so exciting. That news.
Wow.
I
It's like,
once-
wow.
Well, they would have fit right in at McAfee.
When I was temping in my 20s, I think out of defiance, I went to the bathroom and masturbated.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And I was like, I'm doing this on company time.
Wow, that's awesome. That is actually cool.
But then I think someone came in and had to take a dump, and I was like,
Oh,
oh
and
no,
then you're
what do I do?
smelling. Then you smell and hear the farts, and you're like, I'm not horny anymore.
One time I did a temp job when I was like 19 or something. And I went into the bathroom and I spent like 5-10 minutes popping zits on my nose. And then I came out and the girl who hired me was like, "Why is your nose so red?" And she hated me. And I was like, and it was because I was popping zits as a little gross guy.
It's zits, can't you see?
It's zits, lady.
I think probably was
squeeze one?
younger. Yeah.
Want to squeeze one?
Oh wow.
So that's
Those
embarrassing.
are amazing personal anecdotes.
I'm embarrassed about mine. Mine's pretty freaking gross. Mike's is
It's not
so
as bad as
awesome.
masturbating.
That's cool. Mine is the cool anecdote.
It's really funny to be doing it kind of angry. Like this'll show him. Anyway, good for you.
So it's a party atmosphere in the McAfee office.
Yes.
Sexy.
Yeah. So it's a crazy party atmosphere. John kind of is bought out. He leaves the company with $100 million to his name.
Whoa.
He actually claimed he had way more than that, but who knows? He had at least $100 million. Just now, he's pretty young. Like his life's set. He should just be
Yeah.
cruising
If
into
you had
the.
$100 million, would you even know where it all is?
I don't know.
I guess you'd walk around with a big bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
all the
wouldn't let
time?
it go. Yeah.
So now John's kind of retired. He wrote some books on spirituality. He started a yoga institute on his Colorado property.
I need this guy to chill out for a sec.
I know he's hardcore.
He's too much.
I'm going to take my yoga business to the top.
100 million.
He got a second divorce.
Nice.
Yeah, and in 2000, as the world is kind of panicking about the Y2K threat, McAfee bought 280 acres in Colorado. He built an estate. He started a yoga retreat, like I said. 4 guides to spirituality. In 2002, his then long-term girlfriend said, John has always been searching for something. He bought desirable properties in Hawaii and New Mexico. He started another antivirus company called Zone Labs. Now it's like 2008. The financial crisis has hit.
Right.
John loses a lot of money. And he's also involved in some lawsuits and losing even more money. So he was kind of riding high when he sold the antivirus software, but then, he's buying all these properties. He's doing this yoga stuff. He's getting in lawsuits. There's a financial crisis. He's kind of coming down.
And
He's
I ain't never
not doing
heard
as
of
well.
Zone Labs. I've heard of McAfee antivirus software.
Yes.
You know?
Here's a kind of funny thing. Well, sort of funny. One of the lawsuits against John McAfee was because he invented a sport or claimed to invent a sport called arrow trekking. And you should Google it. It's basically like a tricycle or like kind of an adult buggy that flies around. It's kind of like a flying motorcycle, and you could fly really low to the ground or go up high.
What?
And people would be like, he was encouraging this as a new sport, arrow trekking. And it's like riding a flying motorcycle around. But it was obviously illegal. It's super dangerous. You're driving like a sort of a flying motorcycle. And his nephew actually died doing it.
Doing arrow trekking.
Arrow trekking.
Oh, it's always so sad when a member of your own family dies arrow trekking.
Yeah, there you go. And so there was a civil lawsuit against John McAfee because of arrow trekking. That's such a billionaire thing. So it's all getting messy from John. His wealth's gone from 100 million down to probably around 4 million. That's nothing.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That sucks.
That sucks.
He wanted to get away from his legal trouble. So he decides to auction off basically everything he owned, and he purchased some property in Belize, which is a very common place for people with legal trouble in their own country to flee to.
I
Yeah.
believe that.
Oh, my God. Now, gentlemen, I believe John McAfee is enough of a freak that there's enough here to stop here and come back next week and do a part 2.
James, I second that.
Chris?
I think sometimes it's exciting to leave an episode on a cliffhanger.